Let's help some of our friends find some hidden revenue out there. So based on what you're seeing with your provider partners right now, what are the most consistent or persistent sources of revenue leakage that you're seeing that we wouldn't typically find on today's current dashboards?
It's a great question. Going through the Rolodex of all recent client conversations, really. Well, first, clients are writing off a lot of denials. And what we've seen is that you can, with the right data in your JOCs, can get to a state where you don't have to write those off. So I don't know if this is answering your question, but this is just personally stuff I'm dealing with. I'm seeing with clients writing off denials. You get them the right data points, they go into a JOC with effective data, and they're able to take care of a lot of those denials right away. So, and then they're able to understand to prevent those denials going forward. So it's kind of the denial prevention. There's a lot of buzzword around that, but it's real when you have the data and the systems to be able to provide that up front. You can prevent those, but it often leads to arbitration, or it often leads to JOCs, and you have to be willing to go, but you have to have data that supports that. So that's one area. The other is, like I said, we don't mind doing a second or a third zero balance audit, because we know we have a sophisticated validation engine that's going to show where underpayments are happening, and there's audits that you could impact and things like that. So that's kind of a higher level thing, but the devil's in the detail is you look at people are leaving money because they're not loading their contracts and their policies, understanding the impact of policy. The other thing is policies, where there's a lot of money being left now and a lot of denials that are impact, is their inability to quantify the impact of a policy within a given time frame, typically like 30 to 90 days, and be able to communicate that to a payer effectively. That's kind of lost. First, there's just so many of them, and then nobody has the AI to be able to take care of that. That's a big area.
This show is brought to you by Real Partners Consulting, a free-to-provider vendor selection support company. We help healthcare providers find the right revenue cycle partners across technology, consulting, and managed services at no cost to you. If you like what you've heard from today's guest, or if you're looking for any other partner in the revenue cycle space, let us do the heavy lifting for you. Reach out to me, your host, Ryan Downs, on LinkedIn or at rdowns@realpartnersconsulting.com, and I will personally help you find the right fit. Now let's get back to the episode.
Negotiations are huge. Being able to understand all the people that I see that do the most sophisticated negotiations and price increases understand a lot of dynamics about their population, about the calculations, about their services, what they provide. So being able to have the tools to do those more effectively is very important, because you can't just, I hear it, people do it. They like arbitrarily raise prices in certain areas, and that results in a bunch of price decreases in other areas. It's just not, you have to be able to do this very sophisticatedly. There's a lot of money to be made in that if you do it properly.
Yeah,
so those
a lot
are
of great
things that
nuggets
come to mind.
No, absolutely. I'm writing all these down. So I think what I like to try and do when we have questions like this is try and kind of oversimplify and summarize. So make sure you're loading your contracts in correctly. That is something I see difficulty in many areas, but you called it, I think, the lifeblood, right? The contracts and the policies are the lifeblood. How the heck are you going to fight for your payments if you don't know what you're going to get paid at the claim level, at the charge level, dare I say? So load your contracts, make sure those are constantly up to date. Keep up with the ever-growing changes in policies. Do so quickly, because to your point, if you don't, I forget what the exact word is, but basically, if you don't go back to the payer and say that this is going to materially and adversely impact us, or it's against what we agreed upon in our contract within a certain amount of time, good luck.
Yeah.
You've missed your opportunity. Don't write off things too soon. I made a post about this in April or March after the first set of quarterly authorization data came out, and it's something like 80% of auth denials can be overturned, but only like 12% of them are actually appealed. Go appeal those things. Contract negotiations, strategic pricing is something I'm hearing more than I've ever heard. Maybe that, biased just based on what's been coming to me. But I do think as we get better with the day-to-day revenue cycle, leaning back into that lifeblood is critical. And then finally, near and dear to my heart, and what I do at Real Partners, double, or dare I say triple down on your contingent vendors. So whether it's ZBA, whether it's bad debt collection, coverage discovery, a lot of these things that are strictly contingent, you only pay if they're doing good work for you. Other than, yes, I understand there's an implementation cost, even if that cost is just time. There's a security risk of having more vendors. But if you do those things well, you do those things thoughtfully, you have guardrails in place, you can't lose by having these extra
100%.
contingent vendors.
Yeah, that's a very good
And
point.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, and those vendors that they come back to you and they tell you, even though we're cannibalizing work for ourselves, here's what we found and here's how to stop it from leaking going forward, right? I think that's table stakes at this point too. So not only are you getting the actual work, but you're figuring out how to prevent it from continuing to leak going forward. So love it. Hopefully did it okay there of capturing some of the things you're thinking about.
It was awesome, man.